Watching Fox 29 News at 10.
20 toy companies and retailers in legal hot water in California tonight. The state's attorney general filed suit saying the companies knowingly exposed children to lead and failed to warn buyers of that risk. Among the targeted companies, Mattel, Toys R Us, Walmart, and Sears. The suit follows several major recalls of toys made in China containing those high lead levels. If the suit is successful, each company faces a $2,500 fine for each violation. We're talking about millions. Well, those toy recalls have, let's face it, a lot of us, most parents, rethinking our holiday shopping plans. And some parents are telling us they will just completely avoid those Chinese-made toys altogether.
Fox 29's consumer reporter Michelle Williams digs into the recalls, the Chinese factories, and the dilemmas shoppers are facing. Michelle?
Well, Dave and Don, we begin with the staggering statistics. More than 21 million toys yanked off store shelves this year in at least 60 separate recalls. But we found a toy that gives frustrated parents an option, and it's made right here, and it's guaranteed lead-free.
Plus, Mom and Dad, listen up. It's another toy recall. This is ridiculous. A massive toy recall is underway.
Now it's an everyday occurrence.
Once again, toy company Mattel expands a recall.
What is a parent to do? I'm scared to death, and now anytime they ever put anything in their mouths, I'm worried.
Tanya Bamford is a worried mom, an angry mom.
I am angry. I'm angry.
Get out of your mouth. Jacob is 2. Nicholas turns 4 next month. They've got a toy box full of good guys and bad guys at their Lansdale home. But it's Mom fighting the recall battle and sometimes can't tell friend from foe.
I'm really worried because we have a lot of the items that were recalled. The code numbers match on the bottoms of the items, although there's a question as to whether or not they were manufactured during the time frame in question.
Everything from Barbie's lead-laced accessories to Aquadot beads that mimic the effect of the date rape drug if swallowed.
To think that these manufacturers have endangered my children with carelessness, without having the safety precautions put into place in their manufacturing processes, wherever they are, I think it's horrible.
Jacob and Nicholas lost many of their favorite Diego toys to recalls. Like most on the lead-tainted list, they were made in China.
It's not that I'm anti-China, but let's face it, most of the things, the vast majority of things that are contaminated with lead-based paint come out of China. As a parent, that's the only thing I have to go by. Made in China.
Frustrated, Tanya searched the toy aisles for something not made in China.
Made in China. Everything you turn over, made in China. Made in China, made in China, made in China. Made in China, of course.
In fact, according to the Toy Industry Association, 80% of the toys sold around the world come from China.
They don't have the regard for safety that we have in America.
Jeffrey Colino's a consumer product attorney representing dozens of frustrated families.
They put their trust and faith in these toy companies and thought they were getting a good, safe toy for their children, and instead they got a poisoned lead toy.
Colino's Philadelphia firm is taking on the world's largest toy maker, filing a class action lawsuit against Mattel.
Shouldn't Mattel pay for these children to be tested? It wouldn't cost them that much.
Mattel reported $5.5 billion in sales last year. Meanwhile, Colino says the workers in Chinese toy factories earn less than $1 an hour. Chinese government TV insists their exports are safe.
The #1 goal in these factories in South China for making toys is production time.
Colino says that's where the lead paint comes in.
They use lead paint not only because it may be less expensive, but also because lead paint speeds up production.
Those are the things that have some parents looking to avoid Chinese-made toys altogether. As Tanya found, though, that can be tough. American toy companies are practically extinct with one exception.
We've been in Hatfield now for 20-plus years.
Connects, a sort of Legos meets Tinker Toy, is made in Montgomery County, making it the only major toy company that can proudly put this on its box.
This is something that's important to us, is to try to stay and keep the manufacturing alive here in the United States. We've redesigned actually the bricks so that they could combine with rods and connectors.
Michael Ayrton is president.
It is easy to look for a labor that's cheaper overseas. I think our mindset is how to be creative and figure out how to do it here.
So how do they do it? The manufacturing process is mostly automated. Less workers, more machines.
Although we have about 200 employees, we do the equivalent of what about 2,000 or 3,000 people would be doing in other countries today.
And Connex never has an issue with lead paint because they simply don't use paint. The plastic pieces are dyed with something like food coloring, which is also made in Montgomery County.
For us, safety is a paramount concern.
And this industry insider says he's convinced the recalls will produce safer toys around the world.
So much more attention between retailers doing extra testing and the manufacturers themselves triple checking their supply chain. I'd be surprised if we see any major issues in 2008.
And the retailers hope that's the forecast for the new year as well. Now, Mattel responded to our story tonight saying, quote, "This issue is not about China. In our investigation, we discovered a number of subcontractors who have made bad decisions. If they had followed our procedures," Mattel said, "this would not have happened. We have strengthened our controls accordingly," unquote. Now, guys, as for Jeffrey Colino's case against Mattel, he wants the toy company to pay for lead testing for any kid who came into contact with a recalled toy. Well, Mattel will not comment on that because it's pending litigation.
For me, I'm just buying those little lead test kits that you've shown. You can get them at Target or anywhere. But, I mean, what are the parents who you're talking to? What are they doing?
Well, Tanya, the Montgomery County mom that you saw in our story, she says she's just going to buy sporting goods for her kids, you know, for the holidays. That way, it's something that they're playing with and they can't put in their mouth.
Yeah, it's a scary time for parents right now, but you've just got to be aware, and we appreciate all the stories that you're doing to empower us
Consumer reporter
parents.
Michelle
That's right.
Williams.
Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.